What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Arrow Season 7, Episode 4, Level 2. First of all, one thing that I've neglected to mention that I've thought for a couple episodes now, and it's just something I think about, but the problem is it's the beginning of the episode that I have a problem with. Um, yeah, the new opening, not a fan. I don't know, I don't know, it doesn't sound epic. The original throughout most of the series, like the opening, it sounds somewhat epic. Like he's talking about, my name is Oliver Queen. After such and such years on an island, I did this to save the city. I am the Green Arrow. And I don't know, the way he said it was just, it sounded like it had conviction. Now it doesn't sound like that anymore. And the ending, I don't know, it sounds weird. The way he ends it off. I am no longer a hero. Now I am inmate 4587. There's no conviction in it. It doesn't sound epic. Honestly, it sounds like he's putting on, like, I wish he put on a deeper voice for it almost. It's weird. It's really weird. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like it fits the show at all. It would be better if he said, my name is Oliver, or if he ended with, my name is Oliver Queen, or something, or I don't know. But just ending the way it just sounds awful. Like his voice is too high pitched. He sounds almost kind of happy. Anyways, but yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that because I keep forgetting to talk about that. But this one was okay. I'm kind of liking where they're going with some of the stories. There's a new Green Arrow. We already know that, but I'm liking the fact that Dinah's coming around. Through most of this episode, I was pissed at her because she was being Dinah from last season, where it's like she's so set. Like she's like, oh no, I can't work with vigilantes. I can't work with vigilantes. Oh, Renee, you helped him out. Lock you up. It was a little over the top. And then Diggle comes in, has a chance to talk to her, and it kind of helps her out and helps her realize maybe that's not right. So I like the fact that she came around near the end, and the new Green Arrow had a chance to save the theater that they were in. I have no idea who it could be though. Like, seriously, I have no idea who it could be. I'm kind of wondering, is it somebody we know, or is it just some new guy that happened to take up the mantle? I can't imagine it's William, because that would make any sense. And I don't think it would be Roy. But I don't know for sure. But anyways, so that stuff is kind of fun. Felicity, still not a big fan of her trip to the dark side again, like, how many times has she done this where it feels like she's, oh, I need to do whatever it takes, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and it's just another trip down the dark side. Now she's getting Black Siren's help to help her figure it out, which, by the way, I didn't mention this the first time whenever she and Dinah were teaming up, Black Siren. The nose ring, also not a fan. No, it doesn't look right. It really does. Like, I guess she's trying to go, ooh, I'm Black Siren, so I got a nose ring and I'm hard. It feels like you're forcing it. Like, she doesn't look like someone who would have a nose ring. Even as Black Siren, she doesn't look like she'd have a nose ring. It just doesn't fit. But yeah, so Felicity goes and gets her help, and now they're trying to break Silencer, but then they decide to let her go because then she can take them right back to where Diaz is. And yeah, it's Felicity doing another thing that's Felicity, and she's probably gonna fail, but hey, she tried really hard. No, isn't she impressive, guys? Isn't she just so great? Because it's Felicity. And then Oliver, I'm curious about this guy, this therapist or psychiatrist, whatever you want to call him. I'm curious about him because he comes in and he's trying to condition Oliver. They're using some very extreme methods to get him to I guess think the way he wants him to think. He wants to condition him out of being the Arrow and condition him to basically think that his whole mission was completely wrong. Everything he did as the Arrow was completely wrong, and like blame his father for everything that happened, which is kind of intense when you really think about it. Like, basically saying, no, everything your father did, that was unfair of him to do. He's a murderer. You should not have taken up his mantle. It's kind of intense, like, just everything that is talked about. And there's even a moment where Oliver has, I don't know if it was a vision, or maybe it's something that actually happened when he and William were in the boat, I guess. I don't know exactly what that was. Like, maybe it was some of the psychiatrist doing to make him have the picture of him doing the exact same thing with William that his father did with him. Um, I don't know. It was an intense scene though, and I'm thinking to myself, did that actually happen when they were on the boat with Prometheus? Like, is that what happened? And then they found help and were able to get out of it before he shot. I don't know. I've got questions after that. But ultimately, at the end, he asks his name and he says, "I am inmate 54 or 4587 or whatever," which I don't know. Hang on. Okay. Um, I don't really know what that entails because he's been asking him his name throughout the entire thing, and he keeps saying, "My name is Oliver Queen. My name is Oliver Queen," and then at the end he says, "Inmate 4587." So I don't know if that means he's accepted where he is, and honestly, because Oliver's been through a lot, so there's a chance that he's just faking all of this to get the information he needs out of this psychiatrist. So he could just be like playing along with his game until he finally has the information he needs to overcome this. Um, I don't know for sure. We'll see, but it certainly seems like the true serum and everything was pretty effective based on some of the mind flashes we were seeing. And then that brings us to the one thing that I'm not entirely sure about how I feel, and that's the future arc. Um, it appears everything's kind of run down. It almost appears a little post-apocalyptic. Apparently, like, the Glades rose up, and it was kind of like a poverty rising up against the rich type of thing, and so they built a wall to keep everybody else out and just built their own little community. Vigilantes are apparently considered completely against the law, which, you know, even if you used to be a vigilante, you were considered breaking the law. So I'm not against it, but also it feels like, we know Dinah doesn't die now. We know Zoe makes it out, which was kind of cool to see Zoe working with Dinah. We know Roy makes it. We know William makes it. But it almost makes it feel like even if things do change, like, we know they're not going to change that greatly. Because clearly in the future, vigilantes are still considered illegal. As we can tell by the fact that even Dinah's being hunted down just because she used to be a vigilante. So it's almost like the situation gets worse from now until then. And I don't know, it just seems very post-apocalyptic. So even if things do turn out well in this show, it's like, well, but look what happens in the future. So I don't know, it's a weird feeling. It's weird to feel like, well, everything's going to go to shit eventually. So why are we hoping things work out in the present? I don't know. It's weird screenwriting. I don't know exactly what they were going for with this. I assume we'll figure out the point of it eventually, possibly. I don't know. It seems a little weird right now. It's intriguing. I'm curious to see what they have in store for this, but it's also very weird, and I'm kind of unsure if they're doing a good job or if I'm just confused or something. I don't know. But anyways, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. And now episode 5, The Demon. Somehow should have figured that this was Talia, the demon. Demon's head. Should have made the connection, but for some reason I didn't. No, another good episode though. Pretty enjoyable to watch Oliver in prison, finally fighting back again. Because it seemed like for a second there he might have given in to the brainwashing a little bit from the psychiatrist dude. But yeah, pretty interesting. I'm glad they did give a little bit more background on the psychiatrist, but I feel like he could have been more of a character, and now he's just kind of dead. So, a little disappointed that he wasn't more of a mainstay. Like them trying to fight back against him, but instead it turns into they fight back once, and then Felicity and Laurel and Dinah manage to expose his crimes, and then Talia goes and finishes him off. So it's like so quickly done. Because, I mean, it's an interesting concept, him running the prison and trying to change people, like, erase their identities through, like, torture and mental stuff. I like that concept. So, I don't know, I was just a little sad he was gone so quickly as a villain. But yeah, interesting to see Talia back. Interesting that she practically lured Oliver to level 2 just to get him to help her get out. Yeah, I mean, it's a good plot. I like it. It's a good story. Also, the fact that she was working with Diaz, I do like how Oliver treats her about it. Like, why are you working with him? He's the type of people you try to get me to kill. So yeah, I like a lot of the story between Oliver and Talia there in prison. It was good. The stuff on the outside with Laurel, Dinah, and Felicity, not too bad. I feel like the friendship is okay. It's a little forced, but I mean it works for what it is. Them trying to like get along to, it's basically for the greater good. um, so I don't know. I respect the fact that they're treating Black Siren with the respect she deserves. Like she is trying to change because I think Quentin did do a number on her, and the Quentin of this world at least, like he really did show her the error of her ways, and because of that, she is trying to change. She is trying to be better. So it's not just like, oh well, my dad died like he did on the other Earth. Okay, I guess that makes me sad and I'll change. Like there is a reason that they do explain very well. So I don't mind her change. Felicity's still just kind of on the fence about, like, sometimes she seems like old Felicity now out of nowhere, where the past few episodes before this, like, she was just constantly new Felicity that I've hated for the past 3 seasons. But there are some brighter lights in this episode, like, reminded me of old Felicity. So I don't know. I don't mind the three of them teaming up. I thought it was a good little team up. I thought they, accomplished things pretty well. And there's still a little bit of tension there, which is understandable considering the past. But yeah, I like what they did. Laurel talked about how this is a chance for them to, I guess, retry Oliver's conviction. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to handle this, but based on, the next episode, Due Process is the title, I assume that's going to be a lot of next episode, is them talking about how to get Oliver out of prison. I don't know if that's going to be as easy as she's making it sound, though. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they'll have Oliver out of prison by the time the crossover event happens, and that's like, 4 episodes from now? So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this. But we do see at the end, we see that Diaz caught up with Anatoly, so I'll be curious to see what's going to happen with him, because he's been he's not a major character, but he's been one of the more major side characters since the beginning of the series, really. So I'll be really curious to see what happens, because second to last season, I don't know if Anatoly's going to make it out alive from this series. So I'll be curious to see what happens next. But anyways, that's about it from this episode. I'm pretty sure I can't think of anything else. No, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Nothing really stood out as bad. So step up. It's good. But anyways, on to the last of these 3. See you there in a sec. Now, episode 6, Due Process. So not quite what I was thinking as far as tackling Oliver's case, but another good episode. Like, I'll admit, so far this season's been pretty good. Now, bad guy-wise, still don't like Diaz as the main villain, but so far it's been okay. Even though he has been kind of the main bad guy, he's not nearly as, I guess, overpowered as he was last season. Like, he's on the run, he doesn't have nearly as many friends. Yeah, clearly he's still just somehow a great villain with no explanation of how. Like, he's a big guy, and that's all you need to know. He's bad. Oh, he's so bad. But no, he's not been like last season where somehow he took control of the entirety of Star City like that. He's been on the run. He has been able to avoid a lot of things because, he's good at that, I guess. And then, of course, with the help of his little team of the longbow hunters, they've been able to basically fight off any resistance that comes against him. So, yeah, ultimately, this is kind of a last showdown type of thing between Diaz and the longbow hunters, and they're trying to, like, blow up the city using connections with Anatoly and this guy that he contacted. A lot of stuff happened because I was trying to keep my head wrapped around everything that happened in this episode because so much was going on. It was almost a little too cluttered, but not too much. Between trying to get Oliver out of prison, trying to stop Diaz, Felicity going down the dark path, the Stanley guy looks like he may have killed that guard. We'll see what goes on with that. I'm actually kind of interested to find out more about Stanley, because he just sort of showed up in prison and he claimed he was framed for a murder. But now all of a sudden here at the end, I don't know. I was kind of curious what they were going to do with this story where it looks like somebody killed this guard and he was the last one seen with him. And so Oliver helps him out. But then at the end of the episode, it looks like maybe he has more information than he's letting on to. So I don't know. I'm curious to see who Stanley is. Like if he ends up being a major player, if he was a Diaz spy sent in, if he was honestly just an actual murderer who doesn't look like one, but that's kind of his thing. Is he stays small and he's like, oh yeah, I'll help you, I promise, and then he stabs you in the back. So yeah, I'm curious to find out more about that. Laurel, I really like what they're doing with her character. She's not just boom, she's the better Laurel now. She's had time to grow and reflect on her actions, and I really love the dialogue between her and Oliver whenever she goes and sees him the second time, basically saying, I'm not your Laurel, I'm not the old Laurel, I'm me." Basically just saying, "Look, I'm bad. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but you know what? I'm not going to be the old black siren. I'm going to be a new me. But don't try to compare me to your Laurel cuz that's not who I'm going to be." And I know that. And I'm accepted that. So I don't know. It's really good to see her taking more power for herself. Because last season she was basically just, no offense, but Diaz's bitch. That was basically her whole thing. So I was glad to see her stand up for herself a little bit. Um, Felicity still the worst. Just say it how it is. She's still the worst. She's still, oh, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get Oliver out of prison. I'm bad. I'm bad. No, honey, you're not. Just stop. It really is. They want to make Felicity seem like a dark character, and the flash forwards now feel like they're alluding to that. It feels like they're building up, like, oh, Felicity, guys, she's bad to the bone. Just like, I don't know, the fact that they seem to be building this up so much, and there's so many hints in the future flashes, because it's not a flash. Would it be a flash forward instead of a flashback? I don't even know the term for it. Anyways, but in these flash forwards, it seems like they're building up. Oh, she's such a bad guy, guys. Like, oh, she went underground and she became the, what do they call her? The calculator, I think. Like, they're building her up like she's such a main villain in the future that I almost kind of feel like she's not gonna do that. Like that seems to be they're trying to have people take her back from where she's going, and I don't know. It feels weird. It feels weird for them to do this with her, mainly because just everything that her character has done throughout the entire series. This doesn't feel like a good path for her to go down. It doesn't seem like a good storyline for her to take. So I don't know. It seems weird. It seems kind of forced. And then that scene at the end with her and Diaz, like she's about to kill him, but then she never does. I'm like, see, she doesn't have what it takes. She could say that she was going to until Laurel stepped in, but the fact of the matter is, if she wanted to, she would have already done it. Like whenever he started talking to her and like, this is the big boys' table, sweetie. Like get out of here. You don't have the balls to do this. She would have shot him if she did have the balls to do it. So, but no, I like the fact that Laurel went to bat for Oliver. Managed to work out a deal with the feds, and hopefully, I couldn't tell if she was just saying that to get Felicity to not kill him, or if that's actually what's happening, because the look on her face at the end seemed a little bit concerned. So I don't know entirely for sure. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty solid episode. I'm actually enjoying this season so far. Like they've done a pretty good job with what they have. The only problems that I have are Felicity. She's become very unlikable. She's the worst. And most of the time the show wants to paint her like she's not the worst. Like we want to root for her and I don't want to root for her. And also the flash forwards. I mean, I'm waiting to see where it's going to go, but I'm just not liking what they're doing with them so far. It feels like they're almost, I don't know. It's like they're almost spoiling some of what's happening in the present. At least that's what it feels like. Not spoiling in like, oh, spoiler alert. More like spoiling because it feels like the present doesn't matter as much because now we're focused on the future and we know what happens in the future. So a lot of what happens here we know is going to lead to ultimately vigilantes are outlawed forever and the Glades wall themselves in and stay there. Like, I don't know. It feels like a weird move, and I guess until we see what it's all for, I'm always going to feel like that. So, but anyways, that's it for these 3 episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts? Let me know. We can talk and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Arrow reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.